The first slide. Yeah, thank you. All right. So first of all, congratulations on everybody becoming e-commerce enabled now that you're part of the ONDC network. One of the biggest agendas at ONDC. Yes, Satya. Satya, your question? Okay. Uh, Okay, so everybody is now part of the e-commerce network. Just to give you a sense of how we started and why we started, India is primarily undigitized country. E-commerce is only 6% on the buyer side and 2% on the seller side. The idea is that as we move forward towards massive economic development and inclusion, ONDC becomes a part of the journey for the country at large at population scale. That's the mission, that's the purpose, and all of you are part of that, and we are very excited to have an entire state participation onto this. Just to give you a sense of what is the difference between a network and a platform, I'll just take you through three technical slides. In the entire presentation, there are only three technical slides. Everything else is simple. But it's important to explain this because all of us understand e-commerce in a certain way, and it's important to kind of break that so that we can grow and generate demand for having our products onto the network. Okay, next. Ishan, next slide. Yeah. So in a traditional e-commerce network, I'm sure all of you have used either Amazon or you're using a Zomato or a Swiggy, even a Uber. All of these guys on the same platform have the buyer and they also have the seller. So they actually on the buyer and the seller side as a platform. They also make sure the buyer gets the best product because they have something called product listing, and they also make sure that the seller gets the maximum. The seller gets commission for every sale that they do. They also provide marketing support, including sales, ads, etc., to make sure the product is visible and is getting sold. But in doing all of this, there's a certain commission that the platform charges, which is very high, which goes into two digits. It sometimes goes as high as 30 to 40%. And if you look at traditional businesses of India or anywhere in the world, typically profitability is in single digits or 11 to 12% or 12 to 15%, looking at the business or the category that you might be working in. To solve for this, so that you're not running a business on top line, but you actually have per unit economics and profitability taken care of, we formed ONDC network, which essentially is a way to make sure that when you start selling at every product that you sell, there is a certain percentage of profit that you make. Next slide. Ishan, thanks. Okay, so here we are a little different. So now all of you have been to markets. We've been to a real market, like the cornerstone market or a weekly heart or a market like that, or a fish market, vegetable market. Yes, no, thumbs up. We all go to physical markets, right? Okay, Shank, I'm sure you do, but I want to know in AP what's happening. Okay, everybody goes to physical market. So in a physical market, you can be one thing, right? You don't have to be everything. In the world of a platform, you have to be everything. You have to sell, you have to buy, you have to do logistics, you have to look at marketing. Everything has to be done by you. But in a network world, whatever you're good at, Satya, I'll just come to you. Whatever you're good at, you can actually focus on that. For example, if I only sell fish or handloom, or I am a SSG sari handloom creator, right? So I am only just good at that. But to generate demand for this on a platform, I would have to actually spend a lot of money in figuring out the buyer who wants my product. And that's a really hard thing to do if you're only like if you have limited inventory or if you have localized inventory, if you're in a certain space, if you're from a village, if you're from a small town, even if you're in a big city, it's not easy to kind of do everything that e-commerce requires you to do as a skill set. So what ONDC has done is we have divided the e-commerce dunya of the world into buyers, sellers, and e-commerce infrastructure service providing. So what does e-commerce needs? E-commerce needs logistics. It sometimes needs financing. It sometimes needs marketing. It sometimes needs for you to have more buyer base. It sometimes needs you to, for example, if you're a seller of item one right now, for example, it's the first day of Navratri, you sell flowers, but you need agarbatti. You also need a kalash. You also need idol. You also need coconut. You can get these sellers from the network itself and offer five things instead of one if you're smart about it. So this is certainly you have access to a network that makes your offering better and makes it available to the world at large, which otherwise you would only have access to if you spend massive amount of money to get access to them. So we are taking away all of these constraints that a digital economy requires you to have, and we are hoping that you all come in either on the seller side, whereas you where you put in your catalogs, or you come in on the buyer side if you have user base, and you say, okay, I have these users, I can now give them, instead of the 10 things that I have, I can give them 100 things from the network. I can also give them cheap logistics. I can also give financial assistance. I can also offer gift cards. I can also do offers. So all of this is something that the network kind of provides, so that the entire value chain from the eyes of a seller and a buyer is taken care of. Any questions so far?
Namrata, if I can, hello everyone. My name is Aditi. I'm from
I,
ONDC. Namrata, just one request to the audience here. So, people, if this presentation, let this presentation finished. I would like to request all of you to write down your questions, and towards the end of the session, you might as well ask Namrata your questions. So please write down your questions right now, and we will be answering all the questions at the end of the presentation. Namrata, over to you.
thank you, Aditi. Next slide, Ishank. Okay, so this is the only technical slide I actually have. So unlike a platform or a product, for example, if I was building my own Amazon, if I was building my own Swiggy, I'll have to know so much, right? Here you just have to understand that anybody who shops anywhere, whether it's offline or online, just does 3 4 actions in their head. So essentially, if I want to buy something, what do? I first go look for it. Where is this item? Then I find it. When I find it, I order it. When I order it, somebody fulfills that order for me, and post the order is fulfilled, I give feedback, or I like it, or I reorder, or I don't like it and I don't reorder. So this is the whole. Sometimes the order comes late. Sometimes the item is not as per quality, not as per description. What was shown in the photo is not the same as what was delivered. So all of these things is what a commerce experience or a buying experience for any customer is. All we are doing is digitizing it. We are putting it behind a screen, and we are asking you to just do the part that you're good at and not worry about all of it, because the network itself will take care of a lot of that. But this is like the basic simple building blocks of what the ONDC protocol is. And just to give you a sense of what protocols are, all of us are using Google Maps. You can show me a thumbs up. Do we use Google Maps? Okay. So Google Maps is built on a protocol called GPS. So that's like a protocol on which anyone can build a map service, right? So Google Maps is the one map service. There is also Map My India. There are 50 other such map services. So basically, the technology is provided. How you showcase the technology is up to you, basis your design sensibility, kind of user journeys that you want to give to the customer, completely in your hand. You can make it really simple, you can make it really complicated, you can make it multimodal, completely up to you. Attempt is to make it really simple, to not be very text based, to also look at voice based journeys, to also look at video based journeys, etc. And that's what we're trying to do. A lot of people are working with us who are not just looking at web and apps, they're also looking at using WhatsApp services like Gupshup, or they are looking at using the map services, which is Google Maps itself, or Map My India, or they're using payment services like Paytm and Bharat Pay. So all of these things come together. Suddenly, you have many places where e-commerce is happening, and not just as the five sites that we're used to. The idea is to just open up the world, right? We don't just exist on Amazon and Flipkart and the other two sites in each category. The idea is that you have a wider world to work with. Okay, next slide. So the idea is, of course, we are part of this thing called Digital Public Infrastructure, which is part of Ministry of Commerce and Government of India initiative, part of the Atmanirbhar Bharat initiative. We were part of the 100-day scheme that the government provided. We want to make sure that just like we give you infrastructure in the government essentially wants to make sure that just like it gives you infrastructure in the form of roads, it also gives you infrastructure in the form of technology. Because there is an entire generation now which builds on top of technology, and technology also helps you to scale faster, right? So we give you the, yes. Okay. So basically, we give you the basic technology layer. We do a little bit of governance to make sure that there is no malpractices, that nobody is actually charging extra commissions. There is basic turnaround time being taken care of. There's no fraud, etc. And there's innovation. So we make sure that you're not stuck by this traditional idea of e-commerce, that this is Amazon is equal to e-commerce, or Zomato is equal to e-commerce, or warehousing is this, or logistics is that. The idea is to break all of these myths of what it is, because it's only 6% of the country is digitized. We still have such a vast percentage to cover that nothing is actually what I call gospel truth. The first principles demand that we relook at how e-commerce can be built for a country like ours, which has a massive population. We also have services on the network. We also have skilling on the network. We also have mentoring on the network. We also have education on the network. So all of these things combine to suddenly serve a country, and not just to serve the 2 crore people who have access to internet in the metros. You're also making sure that you're digitizing the undigitized. You're also making sure that the first time smartphone user can actually create his own virtual shop, can also be a buyer of different kind of things like services, like education, like mentoring, like subscription. So we are thinking through what all are our needs and what all can we serve in a different way, so that the whole country gets served and not just like the 6% or the tiny population that it is currently catering to. Next, Ishank. Yeah. So again, just repeating, we are very minimalistic. We are there's no privacy. We are taking no data, so your privacy does not get touched at all. The way to look at this is we are also interoperable. So what does that mean? For example, if you're a seller, you list your catalog once, and in that one-time listing, your catalog gets reflected across all our buying surfaces. If you meet the openly declared criteria of the buying app. So if Paytm says I will show white shirts, Ashokji, will you mute your thank you. Okay, so interoperable means that you list your catalog and then it gets displayed across all the buying surfaces if the terms are met. So terms are, I want white shirt, it has to have 10 buttons, it has to be this cotton, it shouldn't have a collar. As long as your white shirt is this, Paytm and 5 other apps will show the white shirt that you're selling. Unbundled means that you can choose whatever part of the e-commerce infrastructure that you want to be part of. So you want to provide logistics, do logistics. If you want to be part of payment, do payment, buying, selling, warehousing, whatever you're good at, just do what you're good at so that you can grow in that. Innovation, if you want to look at completely new ways of doing e-commerce, if you suddenly think of, hey, I know 15 people, together we can create a completely new buying experience or a selling experience, let's go ahead and build that. There is nobody stopping anybody basis either education or economic viability or location or gender or anything. So everybody has now a level playing field to be able to be part of the e-commerce revolution that India is going through. And as we have more people on the network, we build more value for the country at large. That's the attempt. Next. So when I see raised hand, is that a question? I'm just checking. When you raise a hand, is that a question? Could you put that question in the chat box for now? I will answer all of those in the end. Satya, Kotha, yeah. Okay. So now we have, like I said, we are making sure that everybody is included, everybody is part of the formal economy, and everybody gets the benefits that the government and the private sector can provide to anybody who's becoming more and more economically viable in the market that they exist in. The idea is that all of us grow together, and it's not a world of haves and have-nots. Next. Just to put one more point into this thing, if you look at e-commerce traditionally across the world for the last 10 years, e-commerce is, because it requires so much expertise, because it requires so much economic wherewithal, or it needs you to have lots of money and resources, typically in every category. So if it is a all category commerce, there'll be two players. For example, there'll be like a Amazon and Flipkart in e-commerce. There'll be a Zomato and a Swiggy in food, Ola and Uber in ride hailing. What this does is only two or three people grow. What we are trying to do is, that's really not like a cool thing to have, right? Everybody should get the opportunity to grow in a country of our size with the kind of tech prowess that we have now with Aadhaar, now with UPI. So we've shown that we can use technology for good. So if we can use technology for good, and you have Jan Dhan accounts and you have lots of these government schemes, all of this comes together to make sure that everybody gets a chance. Now, once you have all of this, now it's up to you if you use it or you don't, but everybody has access to it. It's an open infrastructure. There is no limitation to who can join and who cannot. It's literally up to how ambitious am I, how much energy do I have, how much am I willing to put a little bit effort to build something. Just like we build a house, just like we build a career, just like we build a shop, just like we study. Similarly, you also say, okay, I will also build on ONDC, because that in the long run will be good for us. Think of it like, had I joined, I mean, if you, when you first went online, you were very skeptical, right? What is the point of going online? I'm wasting my time. But today, people have lives and careers because they went online 10 years back or 20 years back. So today, when you come to a DPI or a digital public infrastructure like ONDC, 5 years later, this is where everybody would be, and this becomes a very big, huge digital, without boundaries, uh, playground for all kinds of people, diverse people, to create a life for themselves or livelihoods for themselves. And that's the dream, that's the purpose. And we are hoping that more and more people join, so that 5 years from now, all of us can stand there and say, okay, we are all part of the network, and it's good for us. And good is not like a word. I mean, this translates into economic value. It translates into skilling. It translates into livelihoods. It translates into inclusion. It translates into access to schemes. Many things at any level that you might join the network at. Next, I'm just showing you what does it mean to join the network, because it's hard to imagine where do I go find ONDC, what is ONDC, how do I go search for it. So I'm trying to answer that question in the next 3-4 slides. Ishak, next slide. So on the network, we have lots of people who are either buyers or sellers. I'm showing you some of the buyer apps because most of us use it, right? So Paytm is a buying application on the network. The way to imagine this is, over a period of time, all of us, all of India, across whatever their interests and needs are. What are our needs? We need food, water, shelter, money, ride sharing, all the 10, 11 categories, right? We all use similar apps. So there are only around 100 odd apps which India is using. All of those apps over a period of time will become buying surfaces because they have access to user base. There's only that many people who are using these surfaces, right? So idea is that they become ONDC compliant, and they come in and add more categories to whatever they may be offering today, so that you get access to their buying base without having to pay for it. So, for example, Paytm is a buying application on the network. They have food as a category, grocery, apparel, all the main categories that you need to buy for a festive season or otherwise, or day-to-day needs, etc. But it started off as a UPI app. They in the past used to have something called Paytm Mall, which didn't do really well, because to manage entire seller network is hard, to manage logistics is hard, to manage financial transactions is hard. But the moment you come on a protocol, all of this gets taken care of by a system, by a technology layer, and by a resource slash people layer on the network itself. So all they have to figure out is, my buyer needs X. How can I provide it to them from the network? And now they're one of the biggest, they were the early adopters of the network. They've also grown massively with the network itself. This is one example. And they have a massive user base. They have a 100 million odd user base. So if you are a seller and you display your products on Paytm, you get access to their 100 million user base, which otherwise you would have to spend a lot of money, energy, etc., to kind of build. And this is how every new thing starts, right? Even when Amazon first came, I'm just telling you some stories. Even when Amazon first came, there were 10, 15 brands that got built on Amazon. For example, Mama Earth got built on Amazon. They made sure that they invested with Amazon, they worked with Amazon, and it took 5, 6 years for Mama Earth to become what it became. And now we have an entire category called D2C brands or direct to consumer brands because there was an early journey that started with either Amazon or Flipkart. Do you remember the first item you bought on e-commerce? Does anybody have what is the first item you bought digitally? Like I first thing I ever bought online was a book. What did you buy online? You can tell me on the chat. What were the first few items you bought online? You can write on the chat. I can read it. Music CDs. Nandita is saying I did books. What else have you bought? Nobody bought anything online. How is that possible?
Yeah. I would request if there is somebody who wants to speak up, can just interact here.
It's him also. You don't have to write. Clothes, Arjun, nice, nice. Books, yes, me too. Books. What else? Shoes. You're a sneakerhead. Okay. Okay. Why am I asking this question? Mobile, of course. Oh, neem comb, toys. Nice. Neem comb, grocery, electronics. Amazing. Clothes. Yes. Toys. Okay. Great. So the moment you put an item, a television. Wow, you bought a television online. I've never bought a television online. Okay, great. Books. Krishna, will you explain overview? Food. Yes. Earphones. Mobile. Okay. Interesting. So when you tell me a word like this, that I first bought a book, or I first bought food, or I first bought whatever, mobile, or electronics, or TV, suddenly you realize that everybody started their e-commerce journey at a different point, but everybody is e-commerce enabled. I always say this, anybody who says I'm not digital, you should just ask them what is the first thing they did in the morning. If the first thing you did in the morning is to check your phone, then you're digital. Then you cannot claim that I'm not digital. As long as you know how to use a WhatsApp, you're digital, which means you can be e-commerce enabled. So having said that, now these items that you have listed were the start of your journey, but what we are seeing on the network is people are looking for more and more unique products, like the neem comb, right? Neem comb is not the easiest thing to find. I mean, some people may not even know this unless you're from, for example, the south of the country. South of the country realizes the value of using a neem comb instead of a regular comb. A lot of us from the other parts of the world or the country may not know this, but I will learn this from you and make this part of my day-to-day life. And this is what the network does. Everybody ends up looking at each other, and suddenly there are completely new use cases. Yes, Gajendra, I'll be slower. Thank you. Uh, so the idea is that whatever you imagine e-commerce to be, we break it because it is so small that it is not the gospel truth yet. So if that's the thing, that means there's a great playing field for all of us to grow and prosper. With e-commerce as an opportunity, and we are just an enablement, a Section 8 company which comes in and makes sure that everybody around us, especially at a state level and a center level, is aligned to the purpose, and we all are able to help each other to become e-commerce enabled and economically formalized. So that's the aim, so that you get access to a lot of ancillary benefits that being part of the formal economy does for everybody, right? Next, so Paytm is one of our buyer apps.
So can I go
Yes,
ahead
ma'am.
for 2 minutes?
Yes, yes.
Okay, so namaste everyone. My name is Nandita Sharma. I look at what is called the social sector. So everything from self-help groups, small sellers, first time on e-commerce sellers is something that I look at. With the previous slide that Namrata was showing, I would like to tell you that, as many of the buyer apps started showing ONDC products, what we did for small sellers, because they are first time, they're very, very small brands, we might not know them very well. They are first time coming on e-commerce, so they're still learning how to accept an order and process an order. So we made a property called Amazing India. And Amazing India is about all the handicraft, artists and the handloom weavers from Kanchipuram to Kudambashri from Kerala to, Bargarh, Orissa, saris, Banaras, weavers, all of that thing. We basically got it in the property called Amazing India. And that is was one way of us doing demand generation, because we thought that for such small sellers we need to give them a good visibility. So that was one of the properties called Amazing India. And I'd like to show you maybe a little bit of snippets out there, if that's okay. uh, but if you want to continue, Namrita, maybe you can continue and I can just sort of intervene and then show them about Amazing India. So just on the demand generation side, what as ONDC, what we did to support vocal for local, to support small sellers in our country.
Actually, most of the sellers in our country are SMEs. So that is, if we don't serve that segment, then what we are serving is actually the top 1%. So SME is who India is. We are somewhere in the middle, and that is actually the most critical segment for us to serve. Now, like I showed you, Paytm, which is actually originally a UPI app, then became an e-commerce app because of ONDC compliance. Similarly, Ola is a ride-sharing app which has tried to do Ola food in the past but has failed because the economies of scales don't really add up. So then they again enabled food on Ola using the ONDC protocol. So now if you go on Ola, you see lots of these banners for food. And when you click on it and you see all of these food things being shown to you, that's powered by ONDC. To the extent when they had their once a year conference this year, they renamed Ola as a Ola consumer company instead of the ride sharing that they were limited by. So they have actually expanded the definition of what Ola is. They would want to serve the consumer in a larger way, and they have a very deep partnership with ONDC right now to serve the customer on the move. You when you look at Paytm's customer is a customer looking for a better financial deal. Ola customer is a customer on the move. What can I provide to that customer? That is what the imagination is. Food is one such thing, but they are unlocking more and more categories as we talk. Next. Isha? Yeah. Tata Neu, of course, is a very basically serves more rich clientele and more urban clientele. But then they realized that nobody is opening the app more than 2 or 3 times a month. So, what is the reason for people to open the app on a daily basis? So then they also went live with food in few geographies. Now they're opening on in all India. They did really well during the cricket season. They did lots of deals around pizza and burger and 1 rupee burger and 99 rupee Happy Meal, etc. So Tata News is going bullish on food because then at least you'll come to the app and open it at least twice a day. So there is a reason to open Tata New app even if I can't afford even a single product onto the app. So they figured out a way to use ONDC to make sure that customer opens the app for a reason that all of us have a need for, which is food. So that's Tata New. Next. Magic Pen. So Magic Pen essentially is as a company which offers lots of offers and discounts on food as a category. They were just like Ola, just like Paytm. They were also the first entrants onto the ONDC network a year and a half back, which is when we started, and they have powered food for us to the extent that ONDC is now owning around 3% of market share. We've actually in the last 1.5 years reached 100 million transactions. That's like a feat in itself. We have not done any marketing, any kind of this thing. All we have is partners like you who have made sure that the network grows. And so we have done around 100 million transactions. Food is around 3% of that. Magic Pin is a massive player in that. to the extent that they taught food as a category to a lot of other players. So they created something called an SDK, or food SDK, and that powered journeys for Paytm in the beginning, Ola in the beginning. There's a company called Jagran, which has Khojle as an app. So they have been very instrumental in growing food as a category. They are very, very interestingly driven by gift cards, offers, etc. So they understand e-commerce really well, and they have taught it to all the non-e-commerce players on the network. Where did the presentation go, Ishank? Ishank? What we have really worked on in food as a category is hyper local. So we want to make sure that whatever food you make, because it's a perishable commodity, it gets consumed in the hyper local area first before we look at intercity, etc. So it's a hyper local category. It's a perishable category. Matches itself to grocery also, but food is a massive hyper local play for us. And India as a country, we are foodies, so it grows organically. Also, it's an evergreen category, something that we focus on. And something that we started with, also the hardest category because perishable. There is turnaround time, there is packaging, there is hygiene, there is making sure that the food is fresh, there are no quality issues. So looking at the category that you work in, you have to also look at what are the basic 4 5 things I have to look at. So for example, if I'm a simple seller or first time digital seller, what will my journey, if I suppose I'm a I run a kirana shop, right, or I work from home. So what happens? I get an order because my product is showcasing either on Paytm or on Tata Neo, whatever. I get an order. Then I know, okay, somebody will come pick the order in the next 20 minutes. So in those 20 minutes, uh, uh, package my order. Like I have to make a delivery ready in a certain form so that whatever I'm packaging is not breaking or it is not getting bent, etc. It looks nice. So you have 15 20 minutes to pack. Then the delivery agent comes, takes the packet from you, and delivers the packet to the customer in the tag, which is turnaround time that you have committed as part of governance or the contract with the buyer, that okay, now the product is delivered to the customer in the next 45 minutes, or if it's fashion, then 2 days or 1 day or 2 hours. If it's electronics, then again 2 days, 5 days, 7 days. If it's toys, then again 2 days, 5 days, 7 days, 1 day. So you will figure out basis where you are in your maturity as an e-commerce player, what these terms of engagement would be with the buyer side or the seller side, so that the customer is served in the best possible format. Whether it's an online customer or offline customer, you still have to give them the best experience, right? So you have to package well, you have to deliver on time, nothing can break, quality has to be taken care of, it has to package well, it has to look good. All of these simple things have to be looked at as a QC or a checklist or a SOP that we share as part of the protocol. Yes, Nandita? Anything you, yeah.
Yeah, I just wanted to add.
Hmm.
So, everyone, Namrata is trying to cover the entire ecosystem. So, I'm just trying to double click on a few things that she has said. So, what happens with a lot of products is that, and the first time digitized product, that we don't have the right kind of descriptions that will attract a buyer to buy. So, these are things that help us in getting more demand for our products. So better quality of photographs. If say, for example, if I'm selling a bottle, I probably might need to take 5 photographs of this bottle from 5 different angles. I might need to write the length, width, height of this particular product. I will have to describe the benefits that it could be for customers to make it attractive. And
Like a neem cone. Why neem cone?
why neem comb? So neem comb is good for hair growth. It is good for scalp stimulation. It is organic. It is self-sustainable. It is naturally made. It is handmade. These are multiple things that can really attract a particular buyer to buy these. So all of us, on this call, there are 250 of us, and we will somewhere be responsible in onboarding products of the Andhra Pradesh government. So I think it's really important for us to all remember that once we start viewing these products, what is so attractive about these products? Is the description ekdam appropriate? Is the length, the height, the width, the weight, all of that is accurate? is the packaging done very well? So once it reaches the buyer feels that, you know what, I want to give it 5-star ratings. Those are the things that we will have to think about when we are talking about demand generation. Yeah, that's it from my side. Please continue.
Demand, look at the word, right? Demand generation. What is demand? Demand is I like something and I buy it. So to like something, there's something has to attract me about it, right? Which is where the packaging, the pricing, the description, if there's a video or there's a GIF or there's a photo, that's like I have to first get attracted to something, right? Once I'm getting attracted to it, then I will buy it. Then when I'm buying it, then maybe the price point matters, how soon will you deliver it matters, the quality of your product matters, generation is you are one of the thousands of products that are being listed digitally and on ONDC. How do you make sure that customer finds you? Generation is that. When they find you, how do you make sure that they click on it and they buy you? Once they buy you, how do you make sure that they come back to buy another product from you? So this is a perpetual customer life cycle that just like any other market, offline or online, you will also have an ONDC. It will just be a little simpler, but it is actually customer management is the same, but you will have a lot more flexibility and tools and financial viability to be able to do that on ONDC compared to a private platform. We are a public private network. So that's the difference. We are actually not charging anything at all right now, but at some point we will end up charging like a registry fee or whatever. But as of today, the cost of experimentation on the network is zero. So why not do it while this is available to us as a massive opportunity that we can unlock for ourselves and the generation to come, right? I always say this, what did my father give me? My father gave me an education. What did he give? What did his father give him? His father gave him a shop. But I got education, and what will I give the next generation? That's what we are thinking about, right? What is the legacy? Legacy will be something digital. It'll be a digital shop, it'll be a digital offering of some kind and other things. But there's a way to look at this, right? What does legacy and wealth of the future look like, and are we part of that? Next, Ishan.
Sorry, Namrita. Just a small, word of caution. We have only 6 minutes left.
Oh,
What we can do while we are going slow, it was important for us to cover this slowly. If we have the officials here from Andhra Pradesh, sir or ma'am, we may request you to do another session, maybe next week, and then we could continue on from there and be more detailed in terms of what are the next steps that we all may need to do.
okay.
Uh, just putting it.
I'll quickly cover this. So this
Please.
is again one of the other buying services. Maestro is a very big support for us when it comes to social sector, which Nandita handles. So when we work with SSGDDs, when we work with FPOs, when we work with special interest groups, we work a lot with Maestro because they actually help us in working with these groups in a deeper way. They've really helped to grow ministries like MORD, Maninder ma'am's ministry is Nandita. Which one?
It's Ministry of Agriculture. Maninder Kaur ma'am was leading the Small Farmers Agriculture Consortium,
Yeah,
SAPC.
yeah, yeah.
In Telugu, it's called Raithu. This
Okay, right. I'm leaving that to you. Okay, so I think this covers some of the buying services that we have. We also have Gupshup, we also have Map My India, we also have Bharat Pay. We are trying to bring as many buying services as we possibly can so that you can also be voice enabled, so that English is not the only language or Hindi is not the only language. We are trying to see if we can unlock some kind of video commerce over a period of time. We are bringing content into the network. We are bringing in lots of other stuff in the network, and we want to make sure that everybody is part of it. And when you have to look at demand generation, there are only 4 or 5 things actually that you do. Can you go to the second last slide, Ishan? Because we only have like 3 minutes. Go to the second last slide, Ishan. Yeah. So essentially, what they're saying is we can't build Bharat alone. Bharat is a very, very big country. So we have to do this together. It's just like you build a brand offline or onto Amazon or as a D2C brand, you will also build with ONDC. But the beauty is on a, Amazon or somewhere else, you're, now can you hear me, sir? Kumar? Okay, Nandita? Okay. Kumar, just check your internet if Nandita can hear me. Yeah? Okay.
Namrata, you're audible. Yes, please continue.
Okay. So, Just like you build for any other channel, we are also a channel partner for you, but the cost of doing business with us is in like it's in one digits, is as low as 3%, sometimes as low as 5% sometimes. So unlike in Amazon where you may be spending 40%, you actually have 35 to 30% as profit for yourself. You can easily use 10 to 15% of that money to get more customers, or to entice your customers, or to do better packaging, or to give them offers, or to make sure your TAT is faster. When you do all of this, we also support you very actively, whether it's the social sector, whether it's Aditi, Ishang, Saransh, all of them make sure that we support you. So we try to give you visibility, we try and do PR for you, we try to give you social media visibility, we try to get you on Doordarshan, we work with something called the public application. So we will support from our end, but the customer relationship is yours. And to making sure the customer knows that you exist, the visibility is also yours. What we are actually giving you back is digital infrastructure. We're giving you more money in your account, which you can use to keep your customer and increase your customer base over a period of time. And we're also giving you something called QR code. So any physical surface that the state or the government machinery has access to, whether it's mailers, whether it's shop in shop, whether it's airports, if you can just put the QR code of the AP shop, for example, that when I'm at the airport and see the QR code at the AP Emporium or whatever, and I scan it, suddenly I have access to 100 products from AP. This is a massive opportunity for a generation that is scanning QR codes just like that. So we are trying to give you as many, or you can have a clickable catalog that you can put on WhatsApp. You can send it out to all your friends on WhatsApp, whoever you know. Many ways of doing this. It's not just about one way of doing this. We will, like Nanta said, go deeper in a different session. But the idea is that just like you build, otherwise you also build with ONDC. We are like a very nascent network for today, but in the next 5 years we will take a center position in the e-commerce story of India, and we are hoping all of you are our partners. And yeah, so thank you. Any questions, Nandita, Ishank, Saransh, Aditi?
Okay. So, sir, I mean, right now with the Andhra Pradesh government, right? We have the Department of Fisheries, we have the Handicraft Handloom Department, we have multiple departments. So, I would just like you to just spend a minute on this slide. If you can see the government emporiums and the PSUs, you must have heard of Kaveri. This is Karnataka Emporium. Pumpuha, that's Tamil Nadu. We've got Kudumbashree from Kerala. So similarly, we'll be onboarding Lipakshi from Andhra Pradesh, right, sir? I think when we move down, right, when we talk about the FPOs that are there in the third layer, they will be smaller brands, the brands that we might not know very well. And ekdam bottom mein, if we go, we will probably find people who are making hand block print stuff, the kalamkari. Media, we have radios. So all of these communication channels can be utilized to talk about the art and craft and the depth of what Andhra Pradesh does on e-commerce. So I'm just going to leave with a few ideas, sir. Of course, we will have to think about how we will, take the first step towards it. But these are some of the things that we did. So I just want to just touch a little bit on that. Number two, I spoke about the Amazing India collection. This is what the Amazing India collection looks like, and I think I would like to show you that entire page. India is like, if say for example, if we go to my store, we can actually, there's a property called Amazing India to buy the handicraft and handloom from all over India, and this is where the Raityu space comes, the farmer space will come from. So these are direct from farmers where we buy. So what multiple different buyer apps, when we will have the products of Andhra Pradesh on each of these buyer apps that Namrata spoke about before, we will have a property that will showcase the entire Andhra Pradesh story, right? And similarly for the from the farmer side. For example, if I open Amazing India, I just want to show you what that look and feel would be like, right? So we can shop by collections. So we have the Lipakshi collection, we have the Kalamkari work, right? So all of those works can actually come here. Like we have bronze idols coming from all of that. When we go down, we can see the shop by states. So unfortunately today, for example, we don't have Andhra Pradesh on the state list of Mysore. We will need to work together to get it done. So we have Haryana, Orissa, Rajasthan, West Bengal. We have southern states like Kerala, Tamil Nadu, Maharashtra, Tripura. No, not Tripura. So we have such sort of sellers, right? If I can just take a minute to show you, I think, sir, most of you people may know about Pumpuhar. It is the Tamil Nadu Emporium that is there. So we can open up Pumpuhar and we can see all of these really nice products. You can see that the photograph quality is very, very good, right? If we move down, I would like to show you, like you can see Kanchipuram, right? So I would like to very happily share this story that when we had gone to Kanchipuram in Tamil Nadu, and we had gone to onboard the handloom weavers over there. Like I said, the first set of photographs were very, very poor quality because the first time they were taking these digital photographs and coming on board. But I would love to share this that, and they started with only 20 products. So if everyone can see the screen, that it is 373 products. Sri Vidya is a lady from Kanchipuram. She now has 373 products onboarded on e-commerce with very, very, very good photograph quality. If we open one of these, you will see that the description is also very, very good. The details are very good. She's in Kora muslin, unstitched blouse, 5.6 meter sari, 1 meter blouse. All of this, and they've written slight color variation is possible due to digital photography. This I'm more trusted by the brand because the brand is being honest with me. Obviously, I have a phone number that I can call on. The product description: this gorgeous and softly Banarasi Kora muslin sari has a unique weaving design. So they have given a description. This is attractive. So, this is just some of the short stories that things that we picked up in journey in the last 2 years. Um, Similarly, point number three, coming back to the advertisements and campaigns. So these are about how can the Andhra Pradesh government give advertisements on the radios, on the newspapers, and talk about that, buy local and support local sellers, right? The campaigns could be about you have the Ambari festival coming in, the Durga Puja. We call it Durga Puja in Bengal, we call Navratra in UP. I'm sure, Ambari is there in Karnataka, in Andhra Pradesh also, there must be a festival term for it. So how can we run these campaigns to support products, right? If it's a puja kind of sale, then how do we promote the puja products, right? The lamps are there, the batti, all of that puja things. How can we really promote that campaign? So it's really about thinking creatively about what do the buyers want at what point of time. Like I'm sure after right before Diwali is Dhanteras, and Dhanteras everybody wants to buy gold. So then the gold companies know that this is a time when we have to give discount. So then how do we do that in a e-commerce world? So those are the Shara. Yeah, sorry, the Shara is there. And so if anybody, so then we can think about what that is. We can creatively craft it out. We know what the buyer. Yeah. Brahmaji, you want, okay, my mistake. And similarly, I think point number four is about gift vouchers. So from the government officials who are here in this meeting, I would just urge that the Kanchipuram sellers became very successful because SIDBI, the Investment Development Bank of India, they gave gift vouchers. Now, gift vouchers are those in which during Diwali we give our employees 1,000 rupees, 2,000 rupees. So how do you give them vouchers to say that why don't you buy from the sellers of Andhra Pradesh on e-commerce on ONDC? In that way, what happens is that when a person has no experience of e-commerce, a small Kanchipuram sari maker or a small kalamkari maker from Andhra Pradesh does not have any experience on e-commerce, will now start getting orders from the officials. So I will start getting more trained on doing e-commerce orders. So it has a very, very good social and impactful angle. And these are the things that we can explore for pumping up the demand for Andhra Pradesh sellers. Then the last one, the fifth one, is the digital catalogs and QR codes. So the Ministry of Agriculture, I know that there's somebody from the Fisheries Department also. You know what? There are these small digital catalogs that we can make and in which we can talk about the different kind of dried fishes that we have, or the different items that we have for fish, and then we can just give a link, so that link can directly go into the seller's account. So in this way, we are able to support the sellers. We are able to talk about these digital catalogs. We can post it on Twitter. We can do it on Instagram. In fact, we should have an Andhra Pradesh Instagram account handle, and we should be able to promote and put all our energy and might around it. If you see the small image of a cart on the lower, right hand side of the slide, right? That is a QR code. When you click this QR code, you can go exactly to your store, seller store. So we can promote these. In my own, in Lipakshi, for example, I can just put this particular QR code on my shop and say that, hey, when you don't have time to come to the shop, please buy from me directly on board, on by scanning this QR code. So these are some of the things that we are trying to do to in order to get demand for our sector. I have mentioned about Amazing India before. These are ethically sourced. Some of them are organic. They're handmade. They're fair trade. All of these different attributes that really talk about the culture of India is something that Amazing India represents. So we should have a proper storefront of Andhra Pradesh, and we should be able to propagate that. In order to do that, officials from Andhra Pradesh, along with our support, we will speak to the buyers to give that kind of visibility. Everyone, I have spoken about the Kudumbashri model, right? I mean, a lot of the sellers came on board, they did radio jingles, they gave a lot of Onam discounts of 20, 20, 30, 30%, and they were able to get about 1200 plus orders in 6 months. And this was Kudumbashri model from Kerala. This is, I'm sorry if I'm going too fast, everyone. I'm sorry, I have a habit of speaking a bit fast. But for example, this particular slide, this is about the Kanchipuram seller. So, you can see that there is a mundu. You can see that there is a lungi at the bottom, and on top of it, the other sari. These were the first photographs that were taken about 1 year ago, 1 year back. Now, today, the same seller, you have seen the quality of catalogs, right? They were able to get orders, they were able to train themselves, know what is e commerce, and now they have very good five-star quality catalogs with very good descriptions. Earlier, there was not at all good descriptions. They just used to say that pink and red sari. That's it. So now, slowly, the sellers have learned the e-commerce world of things. Many of these children of these weavers, they came back. They did their engineering. They came back to support their parents because they were very good with mobile phones. A lot of them have done Instagram marketing. Putting funds in Instagram and Facebook, and then they drove orders. So these are some of the success stories that we have seen. Um, this is Mandesi Foundation. Mandesi Foundation is an NGO in Maharashtra that supports rural women. So they were able to give hands-on training to these sellers. They helped them in the cataloging, in the digital cataloging, onboarding these products on e-commerce, and slowly they made very good orders. They have also got 1200 orders. Their sellers have got 76 self-help groups were registered under Mandeshi Foundation. So very impactful, right? Very good journeys you have seen of small sellers. This is Kalpnal Natural. Her name is Kalpana Tai, and she makes cold pressed oils. Now she has been able to. She used to only sell her products in one city, which was in Maharashtra. It was called the Satara district. Now she sells to around 44 cities, right? In this just 2023. It cut the middleman costs. She was able to directly reach to her sellers, and she made 2.5 lakhs only in profits in the next five months. So this is a story of Kalpana Tai. She was there in Doordarshan also. She went to Doordarshan. She spoke about her products. This is Craftisan Foundation. They work with multiple small livelihood foundations, like livelihood angles around India, and they were able to do a sale of about 3.5 lakhs via ONDC. So really good impact sort of things came about. And this is a video, and unfortunately we will not be able to show this because it's in Marathi. I will get the English video because we don't have one in Telugu. Some of the other things that are happening is street food vendors, right? So street food vendors in Delhi have been able to get digitized. They're getting FSSAI license. They're able to make these attract their buyers and to sort of get orders. So street food vendors also. So these are some of the things. So thank you from my side. I will stop presenting. And but we can go deep into this, but happy to understand any questions that we have here.